your best sense of the impact that the second wave of the COVID pandemic has had on India's growth numbers in the first quarter of this year, sir?
Overall, up until March, the recovery had proceeded very well. Of course, the last 2 months, which is your April and May, have been impacted because of the second wave of the pandemic. And if you look at the high frequency indicators, many of the mobility indicators have declined in the month of April and May, but have started picking up again over the last 10 days, which is reflecting the fact that the second wave is on its decline. And I think a pertinent point here is that if you look at the second wave, the pace of rise was very, very swift. At the same time, the pace of the decline has been equally swift as well. So I expect, therefore, that in this month, in today's the first day, of course, many of the states should go into easing of their restrictions.
The first quarter this year is practically washed out, like the first quarter last year. Last year, please remember that the first quarter ended with minus 24.4.
But not quite like the last year, sir. Many differences. The lockdown not as intense, some economic activity still being allowed. So yes, the economy will certainly take a hit, but it's not quite like the first quarter of last year.
It is worse than the first quarter of last year. I'll tell you why. Unemployment is now crossed 11%. Number of people pushed below the poverty line is estimated at 23 crore people. Inflation is higher this year than last year at about the same time. You think there is no national lockdown, but add up all the state lockdowns, it practically amounts to a national lockdown.
Why is it that there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel as far as small and micro enterprises are concerned?
The job loss, according to me, is close to about 3 crores. I mean job loss in 3 categories. Those who are unemployed, those who have reduction in salary, and those who are not receiving salary for the last 2 to 3 months. This is what I call them, because primarily job means occupation. When I occupy myself, I earn my bread and butter. And if I don't earn my bread and butter, if I simply keep myself only occupied, then it is again a job loss for me. And now, if you see, why is this happening? Is it happening because of only Corona or COVID? Not really. The employers are being lost in this country now, and that is the reason employees are getting lost.
In the last 3 years, there has been job destruction in the country. The number of people employed has come down by something like 8 to 9%. And even after COVID-2, I feel that the unemployment in this country may be close to double figures, maybe 9 to 10%, which is alarming. The government does not recognize this as a big problem. So the first thing government should do is recognize that it has a very serious problem. After COVID, government has to bring in some sort of unemployment dole, something like Narega in urban areas. This is the first vaccination or injection we have to give.
The COVID had affected every country of the world. Why out of 194 countries, 142 countries of the world are showing a better GDP numbers? Because we had reduced our GDP by more than half because of demonetization and the wrong way of implementation of GST. Then come the 4-hour notice lockdown. Now the second wave is not corona wave. I will call it as a government failure wave, because government was not able to vaccinate. That is the reason we are in second wave. Because of that second wave, our GDP and unemployment numbers are going up consistently. Without vaccination, the economy will not come on track, Rajdeep.
Your reaction to board examinations, finally the Prime Minister announcing they've been cancelled. Health is of utmost importance.
Right. So I think everybody is, including me, we are all relieved right now that the boards are cancelled. Like, all really appreciate the decision taken by the Prime Minister. And I think there's a state of clarity in everybody's minds that now we have to just prepare for our competitive exams and not go ahead with class 12 studies.
Earlier in favor of conducting exams, but after seeing the second wave of COVID, I was very devastated as many of my family and friends were infected with COVID. So I feel health is more important than conducting these exams.
I'm kind of shocked because few days earlier the news are coming, like sources are telling us that examination are going to be conducted on 15th of July or something, and suddenly we are hearing like exams are cancelled. But yes, we are relieved for now. But I think government should be more clear about how will college entrance will be conducted.
In order to appear for an exam, one has to be in a proper frame of mind. And there were a lot of children who were totally devastated, who were shattered. There were tragedies at home, in their families. So in that anxious state of mind, I simply couldn't fathom how children could prepare for their exams. So I believe it's a good move, and we can have a weighted average. Schools have done it earlier also. Earlier also we had a CCE system of evaluation. So we can have a weighted average of class 10th, 11th and 12th. In journal exams also we have conducted. And the children can be given credits. And of course, entrance exams in various universities. Delhi University has to be more open now because so far it has relied on very conventional systems of admission. So we have to be prepared to conduct more objective system of assessment.
It would have been very unfair to do the exams at this time because children are affected very differently. Very bright children who have a situation at home will not perform. Yes. So everybody is affected in a differential way, and that would have very significantly altered the performance across groups of students and would have been patently unfair. So I firmly believe that this is exactly the right thing to have done, and there has been a lot of deliberations. We've watched the deliberations. There's been concern from all points of view. So it's absolutely the right decision to have taken at this time.